Chapter 14. Before anyone could say another word, Tom raised his hand, and a series of bangs came from each of the smaller ships. Jenna winced, then looked again and saw that they were harpoons being fired into the ships. 2 boats were towing the Phoenix, 2 for the Catcher, and the remaining 6 hooked the Centurion. They were towed back to port, where they were unhooked. As Jenna walked down onto the dock, she was met with a strange sight. Jude, Rhys, and Tom were sharing a hug, and they were all smiling. As she walked over, they separated, and Tom knelt down to hug Jenna. He spread his arms wide, smiling at her. "Told you I was a king. The skies are mine again, and things can return to normal." She embraced him, thankful to be able to hug at all. What is normal up here? The Centurion was once a freighter, carrying food and drinks out to us so we wouldn't need to return to port. We could focus on keeping order and ensuring everyone stayed up here. "I thought you were just being silly," said Jenna. "Everyone does. It's been many an age since I lost my ship to Taylor, but thanks to his attacks I was able to scavenge the parts to make my boat to get back with my people. So, I'm back with it where I belong. Now, the question is, where do you belong? Do you return to your home? Or do you stay here and make your own adventures?" "No matter what, I have to get on a ship," said Jenna. "I just hope the ships can be fixed." 2 hands held her shoulders from above. She looked up to see the 2 captains smiling down at her. Captain Robinson reassured Jenna while glancing at Rhys. "It's just wood, easily mended, unlike the crew we lost. But we shall rebuild. We always manage to find a way. Now, we captains have been talking. Obviously, we're short of crew members now." "You want me to be proper crew?" Jenna glowed with joy at this thought. She could be a real sky pirate. So many adventures to be a part of. Captain Jones chuckled and shook his head. "We had a better idea. The Centurion, after repairs, is going to be made into a freight ship once again. No more fighting, but a good cargo ship. It needs a good captain, and we were hoping you would take the job." Jenna couldn't believe her ears. Her own ship to command and sail across the endless skies. Nothing would make me happier. "Can I take old Billy? He makes me smile so much." "Well, that's up to him," said Captain Jones. "He kind of tagged on to us one day and never left." "Well, who else do I get as crew? Smithy? Caleb?" "I don't think those 2 will ever leave the Catcher, but feel free to ask around while we stay at the tavern during the repairs. I'm sure you'll have no trouble finding crew. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm starving. How about we head to the town and let these dockers get on with the repairs?" They all nodded agreement and turned to walk to the town. Further along the dock, Smithy was stood with his hands on his hips talking to some young savages. "I told you to stay hidden and safe, not fire bleeding ship into battle against the bleeding Centurion. You could have been killed. Your mother would have me guts for garters and smile doing it. Thomas, you really should know better. So should you, Charlotte. I expect it from Emily, but you 2 really should know. If it were up to me, you'd be landlocked, all of you. It's not up to me, though. So please, just once, try and stay out of trouble." After 3 days at port, Jenna had managed to assemble a crew for what was now her ship. Even old Billy was happy to join her, on the condition he got to keep his favourite plate from the Catcher, and that he could laugh at people if they passed wind. He was a strange man, but he was also a good man. When they returned to the dock, the Centurion had been repaired and painted a bright red, although now it had a new name painted on its hull. It was now named Oswald. The cannons were no more, and the cargo hold had been expanded to hold up to a year's worth of food for the crew if they needed. Jenna stood, marvelling at her ship. She had managed to acquire some clean clothes at port, including a white bandana to keep her hair tidy, seeing as no one knew what a bobble was. As she stood taking in the vast red ship, a voice from behind made her jump. "I'm not the best at ceremony, or talking to people," said Smithy, "but a few of us clubbed together and got you a little something." Smithy stood behind her with a nervous smile. He wasn't used to being around young people, and it showed. He slowly brought his hand from behind his back, bringing into view a beautiful pink three-pointed captain's hat. It had silver laces running criss-cross from front to back, and a perfect white feather, and at the very front was the silver button she had first seen in her grandfather's garden. Caleb, although still grumpy, had managed to get a mechanical arm made, which, although stronger than his old arm, he would forever be complaining about it not being as good as his own arm. "Is this for me?" she said. "It's so beautiful." "Can't be a captain without the proper hat. Don't do anything stupid, and be careful for Galatia's sake. Really sorry." With that, he patted her on the shoulder and walked off down the dock to the catcher. Captains Jones and Robinson were talking and stood for a salute to Jenna, who happily returned it before climbing aboard the Oswald. After unloading her things into the captain's cabin, Jenna went to the helm, as had the other captains on their respective ships. They all watched as a thundercloud rolled in, filling the dock and lifting the ships. There were hollers and cheers as the dock workers untied the ships and they started drifting out. Old Billy stood beside Jenna, smiling his wrinkly, toothless smile. "Where to, Captain?" "To our next big adventure, old Billy. To our next big adventure." They turned the ship toward the sun and set full sail. Jenna couldn't believe the view. Black clouds crashing with lightning below. Very sorry. And a glorious sunny sky. There was a strong flash of light from the clouds, followed by a thud. Jenna awoke on her bedroom floor, confused. She looked around at her bedroom, still filled with all the same things as when she left. Lenny was spread out on the bed, snoring, and the sun was shining through her window. She ran across the window and looked up, only to see clear skies. When she looked down, she could see a small burn on the grass where lightning had hit. It had all been a wonderful dream after all. She couldn't wait to tell her granddad all about it. As she opened the door, Lenny got up off the bed, groaning and creaking before following her down. Downstairs, Grandad had already started frying the eggs and putting the bread in the toaster. Jenna wasted no time in telling him everything about her dream while it was still fresh in her mind. He just smiled and nodded in all the right places, acknowledging her excitement. When she finished her breakfast, she got up and kicked off her slippers. As the left one came off, something fell out and clattered onto the floor. Her granddad bent with a groan and picked up whatever it was. He stood and held it up into the light. It was a shiny silver button with a ship engraved onto it. A small tear crept into his eye, and when he spoke, his voice was breaking up. "I really did miss another adventure, didn't I?" He patted Lenny on the head. "Maybe next time, old lad." The end.